Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samantha Martinez. Today, I will be introducing a topic in composition, which includes grammar, editing, and revising. So today, I would like for everybody to take a look at the sheet that I have right here, which has a sentence that is not entirely correct, and it reads, "I go to the store and I bought milk." Now, does anybody know what I can do, what I could change, maybe take out a word, or what could make it more effective, that it actually makes sense to you? Okay, so right now I will be going onto the computer and showing you a really quick 2-minute and some second video on the revising and editing, just so I can give you a quick refresher.
You wrote down your ideas, so why aren't you done? Even the best writers like to revise. In the first published version of Shakespeare's Hamlet, the famous line, "To be or not to be, that is the question," is actually, "To be or not to be. There's the point." The more famous version came out a few years later. "That is the question" just sticks in your head much better than "there's the point." Shakespeare made a good revision. Like Shakespeare, sometimes you need to look at your writing with fresh eyes. Here are 3 tips for getting the most out of revising. Imagine you are someone else. Take an airplane view. Use a checklist. You need fresh eyes to revise. Try to imagine you are someone else reading your essay for the first time. You can be your best friend. You can be your teacher. You can be William Shakespeare. You can pretend to be anyone. Just try to read your essay as someone else would. When you read with fresh eyes, you'll want to focus on big things like adding supporting information, making sentences clearer, using transitions, and explaining ideas more. Try not to get caught up on small mistakes. You can fix those later when you edit your draft. Looks good. I can fix my spelling later. Finally, a checklist helps you remember what to look for as you revise. One good checklist is ARMS. ARMS stands for add, remove, move, substitute. You can add information or explain your ideas more. You can remove words or sentences you don't need. You can move information to the right paragraph, or even move paragraphs around. And you can substitute words or sentences to improve your essay. A checklist helps you remember all of the different ways you can make your writing even stronger. So remember, imagine you are someone else. Take an airplane checklist. To revise or not to revise? There's no question about it.
Okay, so after having seen this video, I want y'all to talk amongst one another and let each other know what you liked about it. Maybe something you learned, maybe something that you didn't know, or maybe you saw it in another perspective. Okay, so next I'm just gonna give a quick explanation about more of our special characters, like for example, commas. Commas, we use them mostly when we're making lists, when you're listing something like in your grocery list, or maybe you're explaining something, or when you're trying to describe something and there's many characteristics to it and you start listing them. And then, of course, we all know pretty much what question marks are, is when we ask a question. Sometimes they're rhetorical, sometimes they're not even meant to be answered. Our next special character would be parentheses. So we use parentheses. Sometimes we put in the words there to describe something that it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not necessary, that information, but if you were to take out what's in there, the sentence would still make sense and it would still pertain to the story. Another special character would have to be the semicolon. So semicolons are used when you're trying to link two or more parts, but that they are relevant with one another. And then of course we also have quotation marks. You know, when you're writing a story and you say this person said this, you put them in quotes. Or you know, sometimes we're just using this in actual real life when we're saying quote because somebody actually said this. So next what we're gonna do is everybody's gonna take out you know, they're 21st century technology learners. So you can take out your phones, or I have some tablets here, and we're all gonna log into the Kahoot. This website is used, and I created a couple questions that have a bunch of sentences that are not necessarily, they're not written in the right format. So we're going to each try and choose the right answer to show which one you think is the right answer. And then it'll show the results at the end, and it has some places. It has first place, second place, third place, and it'll show you what place you're in the end. Okay, so I just passed out note cards, and everybody should have one. I'm going to read you something I have on my note card. And so this is how it's going to work out. I'm going to read you what I have on my note card, and everybody's going to answer it on theirs. They're going to write down a continuation of what I wrote down. And you'll have 10 seconds to write as much as you can. And after those 10 seconds, you will switch to the person. You'll give the person to your right your note card, and they will give theirs to the other person, of course. And we will keep doing that. You'll keep writing in there for each 10 seconds. I'll let you know when the 10 seconds are up, so you could switch up until you get your paper back. After that, we will read them to one another in our groups, and then in the end, if anybody wants to share it to the rest of the class, I'll leave that open to y'all, or I might have to pick on some of you if you don't volunteer. But I would really like for you guys to volunteer. Most of these end up being pretty funny, so I'd like to see how y'all do. Okay, so thank you everybody for sharing. Now, I would like for you to look at your note cards and actually read in detail what everybody wrote. And if you find some errors, you know, grammatical errors or anything that maybe you need to add based off on what we learned today, if you feel like you can make changes, I would really like for you to do that and initial your name next to the changes you made. That way I can pick these up and see where you guys are at from today's lesson. And then today we'll also do the exit slip right before we leave. And you'll take another note card, and you'll have about 2 minutes to write down anything that you learned today, anything that you liked, anything you didn't like. And if you still have questions on something, go ahead and please write that, and I'll take those and I will read them and take them into consideration, just so I could see maybe what we need a little bit of more practice on, and maybe something I could touch up on the next class. So everybody go ahead and start and take your note cards, and we can start right now, and then y'all will be dismissed, and I'll see you for next class. Thank you.